And we're live. Hey, I'm Ed Parcaut, your host of Real Estate Jerky, which is a radio show, and now we're doing it live on Facebook and YouTube. Eventually, be on LinkedIn if they ever allow us, but they have these different regulations. They don't allow everybody. But today we are going from California to Las Vegas, and we're doing the pros and cons of moving from California to Vegas. Hey, Courtney Beauford. He is our realtor he's a realtor from Las Vegas. He's been on the radio show a few times. I wanted to bring him back on because he's really big in Vegas. And I'm talking about the sales he does, that kind of stuff, not his size, because he makes fun of me all the time. Anyway, Courtney, thank you for coming to the show today.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. I guess I don't know if everybody can see it, but for me, you're a little blurry, but that's okay. That makes you look so much better.
Well, see, I'm not doing as good as people think because I've only got the $10 plan with Cox Cable. So unfortunately, I apologize for my connection.
No, there's nothing wrong with being a cheap ass.
No, not at all.
It's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. And
you got that right.
Right.
Absolutely.
The reason I wanted to bring up the show again, because a lot of people have been moving out of California. We're having a net exodus of 100,000 plus, which sounds like a lot, but we have 34 million people in California. So it's really not that much of not people coming in and leaving, which I'm good with because we have a problem just like everywhere else where there's not enough homes for people to get into it. In our area, there's probably 18 offers for every home. And as you go up, that gets down to maybe 13 and 15 offers. But, there's stuff going in the Bay Area where they're writing stuff over asking, and there's people behind. Even though you hear these stories, everybody's leaving the Bay Area. It's not that case. But I wanted to talk about Vegas because, and I'll bring it up later, but I've seen the numbers and what your guys' appreciation has been since the pandemic, and it's amazing. So I don't want. Yeah, so I'll take the cons today. I'll let you talk about the pros of moving there and what's so good about it. So go ahead. This is your show now.
Well, so if you're going to take the cons, you probably won't be talking much because there are no cons because Las Vegas is the best city in the entire world. So that being said, I've lived here for 37 years. I love Las Vegas. It's my favorite city, and I don't say that without experience. My folks were military, so we grew up all over the country, and so I've got a good indication of how it is to live all around our great United States. But that being said, in regard to kind of market conditions, I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I listed a home, and I'll tell you on one of the portals that show value of your home. You can go in, type in, give them your address, and they'll spit out what they think your value is, kind of situation. My client went on and took a look at it. Their value comes back at 417, which I knew was really super low. And I'm telling you this story to kind of illustrate to you how crazy the market is. And I'd spoken with this specific client just 12 months earlier because they were thinking about moving, and did a little quick CMA and marketing analysis to let them know what their home was worth. And so I did another one when they were getting ready to list last month, and quickly discovered that they've grown more in the last 12 months than they had grown in the previous 4 years that they'd had that home. I sold them the home 5 years ago. Didn't have a ton of growth, but in that last 12 months, it skyrocketed. So that being said, 417 was the value. We're now under contract for 506. Got the appraisal back, 495. The portal was wrong. The market was crazy, and it still continues to grow. And I think I had 60 people come through my open house that first day that I put it on the market. Tons of offers. Lots of back and forth. I had people from California specifically calling me. I remember one lady called me and said, please don't accept that offer. I'm on the 15 right now. I will give you 20,000 over whatever they're offering. Just wait and don't accept that offer, which, I mean, we both know we've been in the business long enough. People say a lot of things, but that was not a situation that we wanted to jump into. But so that's just kind of how it's been for all of us, and I love to say it's because I'm so good. But the truth of the matter is that we only have 1,983 homes on the market this morning. And historically, we have more than twice that usually available to choose from. So the inventory is super low because of this influx of people from California specifically. And I say that we literally get calls every day through our lead generation sources, specifically from California. So it's been busy. And it's funny too, because when the pandemic started, I'm sure like everybody else, you kind of clutch your pearls and hope that you're not going to lose your business. That first couple weeks was pretty critical. And then after that, it was just all work. I mean, literally could not, the phone would not stop ringing. And it was kind of something that we weren't expecting, but, of course, we're grateful for that. I think the pros are pretty obvious. I think a lot of people kind of fell off of that. They knew that. Let me back up here. I think a lot of these people are business owners, and a lot of people already knew that it's cheaper to live in Las Vegas. You can get more home in Las Vegas. I think those are two big indicators. And I also think that because of the pandemic and the way we've changed the way that we do business and don't necessarily have to be in a storefront, now you can work pretty much from anywhere, that kind of knocked people off that fence and dropped them right into our state and into my lap. So
let me, I'm going to share my screen and show you the Case-Shiller index that we're talking about.
Sure.
Let's see here if I can do this right. Make sure it's not the wrong one.
Do it.
All right, there. Can you see that? So,
I can.
All right, so pandemic, right? Your little drop down here, and then off to the races from June. Look at that. Look at those numbers. That tells you
insane.
that. I mean, yeah, and that's, they came out today with the Case-Shiller report, and they're talking about that. In San Diego's up like 16%. Let me see the numbers for that. I have the actual numbers. I can get them in a second for San Diego, but they're talking Arizona everywhere. And I saw this for Las Vegas. And for me, that's just unbelievable. If you're living there and you're thinking about leaving, because I don't know where you're going to go, but if you are, that is just, look at that equity you just built from June till now. You're talking about it, right? Yeah. I had the same thing with people, leaving California or looking at refinancing. I had one gentleman a year ago, he called me around here to refinance, and it was like 336. He called me here, and it was 448.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with what's being reported and what's going on. So I'm going to get rid of this. We'll stop sharing that. But that's what we're dealing with, right? Oh, by the way, you had a fan.
Oh, hi, Lindy.
We got to reach out to our stalker.
Of course.
So, I mean, it's for most people, they don't realize what's going on. I mean, this is just unbelievable what's happening with housing. And a lot of people think that we're going to see a downturn happening. And I don't see that. I don't, because, typically during I think it was when we went to 2006 and that beginning of that, we had, I think, over 3 million homes on the market nationwide. And now we have less than 1 million. So that tells you there's not enough homes everywhere, and everybody wants to buy a home. Everybody wants to do this. The only thing I'm seeing differently, especially in California, is, and I had a show about this, and it's coming this weekend, about the landlords, how they're thinking about not being landlords anymore and selling every one of their investment properties. And so where's renters going to live when everybody sells their properties because of what's happening in California? Right. So enough about the bad. So your pro was Las Vegas is a great place to live, right?
Well, there's a few. You want me to give you a list, or do you want to start there?
Well, you started one. I'm going to give you mine. Here's the con.
Okay. That's all you got?
Hey, I can do my second con. There's my second one.
Well, listen, I just solved your problem right there. Boom.
All right.
You just got to fan it a little bit. That's all. You're right about that, though. It's funny you say that, because I always tell people, it's like, listen, we have no tornadoes. We have no hurricanes, no tsunamis. Giant locusts are not going to drag you into the ocean like in Florida. Why wouldn't you come here? I mean, it's a beautiful, it really is. I mean, the only thing we do have that's a negative is the heat, and it does get hot. And I've been here a long time, and I'm still not used to it. So you're not wrong about that.
Well, 100%. Here's my last one, and I won't bring anything else up. That's all I have. That's the only negative I have about the whole thing, which I totally enjoy Las Vegas. And I don't mean the Strip. I mean going there, doing stuff. So tell us what somebody in California, in my area, you could, at 500,000, you get a decent home. It's not an amazing home. In the Bay Area, 1.5 million buys you a track home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,800 square foot, 1,500 square foot. What do you get in Vegas? Because I've seen some of your posts, And the one I really liked with the view, that was millions of dollars. But what, but that was a really amazing place, and it was up high. But so what is an average home there, new home? Because I know you go through a lot of homes. So if you don't know Courtney, he actually tours all the new homes. He puts it on his YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
Just Courtney Sells Las Vegas.
All right. So that's the same thing as like your email, Courtney Sells Las Vegas. All right. So
that's right.
All right. So go there, check out his YouTube. He actually shows all the different homes and new ones. You do the same thing for ones you list?
Not as much, honestly. I kind of do new homes because I can just hop over there when I need to. For the homes that I list, if they're vacant, I'll go down that road. But honestly, I actually did a couple of videos but I sell them too fast. I mean, they disappear. What's the point? I can use that work towards the new home and generate leads that way. But in answer to your question, the median home price currently is $310,000. So 500 will get you a decent home in a nice neighborhood. It will. You can even go new construction as well. All in 2,000 square foot home, in a nice neighborhood for 500 all day. The only problem with that is trying to locate said home for $500,000. They're not building them fast enough. They can't build them fast enough. Even in new homes, we're seeing people bidding for their lots. Literally coming in and blindly offering X number of dollars just to secure the lot, and then figuring out what the base price of the home is going to be. That's how insane it is. And a part of that has to do with lumber prices kind of got a little cattywampus there. And so they really couldn't price the base price of the home. And so you're basically in there with cash, just trying to hit them with the overhand right and steal the lot from whoever else, might be interested in it. It's a trip. It really is.
You brought up lumber prices. They're up 130%.
I know.
We were going to build a house during the pandemic, and they said if we would have finished it, it would have cost us $150,000 more to build just because of the price of the wood.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm hearing nationwide with builders that they don't even know the price of their lumber until it lands on their doorstep, and then they have to go back to the person who bought the house and say, okay, now these are the increased costs because of the fact that the wood's so more, and a lot of people are like, I can't afford that, and so then they have a house they're putting on the market that somebody else can grab. So
you're exactly right. And to that point, I have a client. We just closed on his house yesterday, brand new construction, and there was a situation with the home, and they ended up painting the house the wrong color. Not the whole house. I take that back. The garage door. And typically, I would just go in there and just kind of act a fool until I get what I want. But in this environment, they very easily could have said, okay, you can cancel. We'll add $60,000 to the price, and someone will come and beg us for it. And they're 100% right. So, I mean, it takes away your leverage in that respect because the market, is in this situation. And as far as California goes and why we're losing, because a lot of these people that are local or trying to purchase homes are losing to California because California's got all that cash. They're selling these smaller, not great homes, getting these better homes with the cash they brought from California, and they're paying overpriced value with it because they know down the road rates are great. If you stay in the home for at least 5 years, you're going to be fine. Why wouldn't you go down that road? I mean, the money's free, basically.
Well, you say because it's in and that's what I want to explain to a lot of people. We've been saying, hey, rates are going up, and they are going up. But during the pandemic, there was this premium built in there to keep the rates a little bit higher than the lowest they could go. And, I kind of figured that was going on, but, I'm not Fannie and Freddie. I can't walk in their door and say, what are you guys really doing? But you're looking at this and you see this. And now I just priced out somebody on a 15-year. It was like 2.5, right? And their APR is like 2.679. It's ridiculous. 15 years are still where they pretty much were. 30 years are right around 3%, depending on your FICO score and LTV and all that stuff. And it's amazing rates still now. And we're going to see it just this, and this is a little tick up, and we're going to see it for the next few months. And because we're going to see inflation coming, but the inflation that's going to come is going to go away in September because it's all the cost of good, because of COVID and everything else. And so we're going to start seeing the rates start to going back down into the year, into next year again. And it's like, how can we handle this? Right. And I mean that positively, but you're looking at bidding on houses, and most people, if I bring up that graph again, it shows you that there's no reason not to bid more on a house. right?
There's
Because
not.
it's you're going up because there's only so much inventory. There's almost so much they can build. They're so far behind already. We're supposed to be building 1.5 million a year just for population growth. And if you look at the last from 2006 through that 10-year period, we were lucky to do 500 to 700,000 nationwide. So we're so far behind. And then now everybody's like, I want my own house. You got all these people 30, all the lower years age that's from 85 to 95 births all going, I want a home. And they're all first-time home buyers. And that's 37% of the market. It's going to 40%. They take the homes out of the market. It's just going to get worse. And I don't mean this wrong, but if you don't own a home, you're not building personal wealth. You're just paying somebody else for them to build personal wealth. So enough 100%. Right. I mean, I know we talk about this all the time and we argue about other things and we make fun of each other all the time, but please don't take this wrong, but Courtney's a really nice guy. He's really good at what he does. Him and I give each other a lot of crap, but we really like each other. And so if you need somebody in Vegas who knows what they're talking about, they need help. I mean, they know how to help you to get into a home. They know how to do certain things. You need to call Courtney. And I'm not trying to get rid of you. I just wanted to give a little prop there. So let's go more in Vegas, because what else? I mean, where I live in Modesto, it's a great place to live because you can go anywhere from it. And that's not a negative. That means I can be in the mountains in an hour and 10 minutes. I can be the coast, same thing. I could be anywhere. So it's a perfect location. I don't have to deal with a lot of traffic. So if I'm moving to Las Vegas, would you tell me to move to Las Vegas, or would you tell me to move like to Henderson or where else? I mean, somewhere close. What's the best place to move to?
Well,
let's say a young family, right? A young family, not two single people, but a young family.
Honestly, man, it depends on your lifestyle. I grew up here. I got here when I was 12, and we moved on the west side of town, which is near Summerlin. This was before we had a lot of master plan communities. Vegas has a lot of master plan communities in general. So this is pre-Summerlin, Mountain's Edge, Providence, all those other neighborhoods that are popular today. So, I would say it depends on your lifestyle, depends on where your people are, depends on where you work. When you live here, we don't think of Henderson as this separate entity in such a way. It's more like a neighborhood, and we're all kind of in this bowl. I mean, going from here to Green Valley is probably closer than you go to the grocery store. I mean, we think that's far. We're kind of spoiled in that respect. 20 miles is a big deal for us. 18 miles is a big deal. So you guys are used to traveling those distances. I'll say there's a lot of great neighborhoods in Las Vegas and in Henderson. Green Valley is actually voted the #1 neighborhood, but I personally wouldn't want to live there because I grew up on this side of the town in Summerlin, which is also a very popular neighborhood. And a great place to live as well. So, it depends on personal preference. There's a lot of great places to live here. I'd say, find the one that fits. That's what I typically do. And I'll tell you this much, a lot of people, once they do their research and they're coming here to relocate, a lot of the times the first thing out of their mouth is, hey, we want to go live in Summerlin. We really love Summerlin. Let's go look at Summerlin. But then they get to Summerlin and realize their $600,000 gets them an okay house with a yard about this big, and they're about this close to their neighbor. And so I show them other neighborhoods that have maybe a little bit bigger lot size, maybe, not so restrictive. The infrastructure is not as good, as far as, your grocery store, your this, your that, but it will come. Northwest specifically is an area that's been growing over the last few years. And I've been saying this for a long time. And I don't know how familiar you are with the northwest part of Las Vegas. I'm talking near like the 215 and Ann Road. Okay. Lots of building going on, lots of half-acre lots, lots of single-story homes. Las Vegas loves boats and big trucks and pools. You got to have a pool or you will die here. So it's critical to have those things available. And I think, a lot of times I push people to where I think I'll show them what they ask me for, and then I'll show them what I think they probably want. And didn't know, honestly.
And that's a good agent who knows what, they find out from their client what they want, what they're trying to look for. You show them that, and then you show them, hey, maybe we should look at a couple of things. Just trust me and let me take you over here and see a few other
100%.
things. You know the market better than somebody coming there to move there and live there. Now, single story homes more prevalent in Las Vegas, or is it same with amount of 2-story and single story?
They're not more prevalent. They're just more popular. A single story home will never be a problem to get rid of, even in a bad market. We are a retirement destination. I think that plays to a part of that. You get older, nobody wants to hit those stairs. I'm 48. I don't want to hit the stairs. You know what I mean? I can barely walk as it is. So I think the single story part of it is just a symptom of us being people's final place to kind of hang out before they move on, right? So
right. No, I hate I have a single story home just because, and as you said, I think that's going to be a premium in the future because everybody wants that. You do those stairs for so long when you're younger, and if your master bedroom's upstairs and you have kids, it's not a big deal. Hey, run in my bedroom, grab this for me, right? Once they're gone, you're like, do I really need that so badly, right? So
100%, without a doubt. And and us, I think we build a lot of we build a lot of two-story homes because we're trying to get as many units in the smallest amount of land possible. The truth is we're in a valley here. We got mountains all the way around us. So at some point we will run out of land. I mean, there's a lot of BLM land on the outskirts of town. We're just going to run out. So we have to make the best use of the space that we have available. So.
Well, and that's good that you guys are doing planned communities too. So that way it's a group, everything's planned. How long does it normally take for people in Las Vegas if they want to start building homes from the moment they're thinking about it to they actually start building that home? You know what I mean? As a builder, is it 6 months, a year, 10 years?
It depends on the product. It can be anywhere from, 5-6 months all the way up to 18 months if you're talking a custom home or a luxury home. Even for example, Mesa Ridge, which is it's a luxury home, but it's a production luxury. It's built by Toll Brothers, and they have their own it's almost like their own little city. Honestly, they have 3 little neighborhoods. 4 different little neighborhoods. 2 of them are all single story, and then 2 of them are 2-story. But God, I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
Planned. How long does it take to build?
Oh yeah. So the build time on those are up to 24 months now, 2 years. So you're going to hand them a couple $100,000 and you're going to sit around and y'all say, I'll see you in 2023, which is, it sounds crazy, but people are doing it left and right. Well, life is short.
I'm in California. We're talking in California to build and think of planning. It could take generational. It's huge. It takes forever in California to do anything because of all the extra laws and everything else they keep adding on. So you're going to see more people coming your way. You're going to see more.
I was just going to say that's why they're coming, because of nonsense like that. We have and a lot of. We're a military town. We have people in and out of Las Vegas a lot. Do you guys have a base by you, by the way, or no?
Not anymore, because the closest one was Castle, and that closed up years ago, and it's just an air thing now.
That was Air Force, or?
Yeah, Air Force. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's where, and actually, it's a funny story. That's where my dad met my mom in Merced when he was in the Air Force.
Oh, nice. Awesome. How'd you end up in the Navy if your dad's Air Force?
My uncle was Air Force also, and my stepdad was a Marine, and I wanted to see the world and be a corpsman, and they said yes, they'll let me in, and that's how I became Navy.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome. I got to see a ship once, but that was we can talk about it later in our next my one at 2:30 about helping the brave. By the way, I'll throw that out there.
Absolutely.
So, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people moving. The reason I wanted you on is to tell people, hey, Vegas is a good place. Go check it out. Check out other places. Because you're right. The problem is people who live in Vegas probably hate Californians. To a certain point. What I mean is because we're causing your values to go up so high that the normal people affordability that was there, if I bring it, back in February of 2020 versus now, it took out a lot of people who live there and have been living there for years who can't buy now.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. But, it's still, you still get a lot of bang for your buck here. Don't get caught up in now I'm priced out of the market. The truth of the matter is that time changes what's normal and what's not. 2 years ago, did we think we'd be doing what we're doing today? No. It speaks a lot to the resilience of the human being and just the ability to adapt in an environment that's, aggressive, for lack of a better word. So, affordability is I think it's a myth almost, because it really kind of depends, right?
Right. And I always, with a lot of my
You
clients,
locked up for a second. I lost
yeah,
you.
I'm back. Are you back? Are we there? Courtney, can you hear me now?
Yep, I'm here. Yep.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, it's internet probably.
I can hear you.
They probably took my internet from California and gave it to someone else. One of the issues that, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm in a smaller town. I have internet through that Comcast or whatever, and they're supposed to be the highest whatever. And it's weird. It's just, they have issues constantly. I'll be on something that drops, and it's like, how do you work at home? How do you do this other stuff when, this internet is supposed to be amazing and it's not?
Well, that's the point as well. I mean, there's more people on the internet now. There are, because there's Zoom calls that weren't there a year ago, and there's everything else that wasn't there a year ago. Our whole
like lives.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, man. I mean,
what we're on right now, these lives that we're doing now, and talk about what's going on everywhere. I don't have to come there and be in your office and take, have all the cameras set up. But we do an interview. We can do it in like 30 minutes across, So.
Absolutely. I don't even have pants on, honestly, but whatever.
Yeah, well, whatever. I saw your hurricane next to you, though. That was nice to see that. What I'm talking about, right? Those for that back problem you have. Anyway,
you just calm down. Anyway, I appreciate you having me on, man. I love talking about real estate. I know we talk about it a lot. I think Las Vegas is a great place. I think, especially if you're a business owner, we have a very favorable tax structure. We have no state tax, and we have a lot to offer. I mean, I love this city. I don't think I'll ever leave it. And it's funny too, when I was growing up here, I was thinking, what else is out there? And I did leave to go to Denver. I lived in Denver for literally 6 weeks, and I had to come back. I love Denver, but it was too slow, and just too everything.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So I was going to ask if you ever did leave and come back. Well, you just told me. So that was it. That was the only period of time you ever left Vegas.
Yep. Since I moved here at age 13, 12 or 13, whatever year, however old I was. Yeah, I only left just the one time. But before that, we left. We moved every 2 or 3 years. My dad bounced around a lot. So,
military, of course, you're going to move around, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Courtney, I really appreciate you being on today and helping people understand why you should move to Vegas. And before I go, Amy wanted to let us know that was a very interesting conversation we had.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah. Thanks for these little people we know helping us out. But I mean, it's people just need to know what else is out there, where to go. And this is even if you're thinking about going from Texas to Las Vegas, right? Because there's things changing all the time, political things are going on that makes it sense to move possibly somewhere else because you don't like where you're at. That doesn't mean you have to stay and deal with it. You can move wherever you want. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. So if you guys need help, you're thinking about moving to Vegas or I'll just say anywhere in Nevada, call Courtney. He can help you get set up. If he doesn't deal with that area, he'll find you an agent in that area so you're not going in blind, because it's really important to have the right agent who's knowledgeable and knows the area and what's going on. Correct?
100%. Thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate you. And thanks for boosting me up.
It's the same thing that people do for me, because it's so hard for us to toot our own horn. That's not who we are. We don't want to talk about ourselves. We always want to talk about other people. And then so I mean, I'm glad that you came on. And as we end our thing today, if you guys want to get a hold of Courtney, his phone number is on the screen, 702-336-6743. And remember, if you're on watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, share, go to his YouTube channel, check out the stuff he has on there on Courtney Sells Las Vegas. Correct? Did I get that right?
You did. Thank you so much.
And everybody, thanks for tuning in today. And I really appreciate it. Courtney, stay there.
Thanks, brother.